class, in this video we are going to show you how to complete the My Polyominos assignment using a snap grid. So let's first notice that this assignment requires me to draw all the possible shapes that have 4 cubes joined together, and there's actually 8 possible solutions. There's some examples from your classmates who completed it in the diagnostic that we took. But let's start by opening up Onshape in our portal, which we can just type in Onshape. This is different than going to just onshape.com. You do need to make sure it goes to annrichardstar.onshape.com. And you shouldn't have to know a password. You can just sign in with your email address using Google. Okay, and then I'm just going to create a brand new document called My Polyominos. And I want to be quick about applying my dimensions and constraints. And the easiest way to do this, knowing that all of my shapes are the combination of squares, is I'm going to create a sketch by clicking Sketch, choosing the top plane, and I want to be able to draw it normal to that sketch plane, so I'm going to press N. And then I don't need all of these planes anymore, so I'm going to press P to hide those planes. So I want a snap grid. So to do that, I'm going to make a repeating point. Let's look at that again. A point has the shortcut Shift plus S, and I'm just going to throw it just in the middle of my sketch plane, and I'm going to choose this linear pattern and choose that point. And it's going to allow me to repeat this point in both directions. So by default, it's saying it's going to repeat it 3 times. I'm going to change that to 10. And then on the other direction, the vertical direction, it says 1x. I'm going to change that to 10 as well. Now, I didn't tie this down to the origin, so all the points are still blue. But let's do one last thing. The little icon next to my cursor is a mouse, because it wants me to left click to accept my repeating pattern. Okay, so it's creating my repeating pattern, but look, it's still malleable. I can still move it around. So the last thing that I'm going to do, just to lock it down, is I am going to choose my coincident constraint. And it really doesn't matter which point I make coincident to the origin, but I'll go ahead and click the origin, and let's just pick this point right there. Okay, so now all my snap grid dots are black because there is no other way to define this grid of dots. Okay, now I'm ready to draw a polyomino, and I'm going to draw a couple of them for you. The first one I'm going to draw is the T. Okay, and so every time I hover over a dot and I actually see the coincident constraint, I'm going to click, and all my lines are already black. And it's already black because this snap grid is both dimensioning it and constraining it to be parallel or perpendicular to each of the adjacent lines. So that's my T. And I'm also going to draw a V, which isn't the complete shape, but it's the first layer of a shape. Okay, so all of these lines should snap to a grid, and if for some reason I forget to do that, the line probably won't be black, or it won't close. So if I make a closed shape, then the line shades, and that helps me to know that it's a closed shape. Okay, so this isn't all 8 shapes. It's only 2 of them, but it demonstrates what I need to do. So the next step after I've drawn my shapes is I can come over and click the extrude button. And so my snap grid was 25 millimeters apart, so when I click the depth, it does create the depth as if it's a set of cubes. Now notice this one doesn't have 4 cubes yet, it only has 3, but I can build another cube on top of this surface. So let me show you the isometric view with Shift 7. That's the 3 cubes. And then instead of sketching on one of these top, front, or right view, if I sketched on the top, it would actually sketch the bottom of my shapes. I'm actually going to select the top of my shape as my sketch plane. And what that does for me is when I switch to be normal to this, I can create a corner rectangle from one corner to another corner. And it is showing that implied coincident constraint. So there's a square on top of here, and when I extrude it, the default of 25 millimeters, it extrudes that up. Let me show you again that second extrude. It's not a new block, it's adding to the existing shape. So the reason that makes a difference is I only have 2 shapes. It didn't create a third shape on top of my V. So now I can come here and select my T. Notice that that's part 1. I'm going to right click and rename that to Tetramino T. It is also a Soma cube, so I could have called it a Soma T. And this one is definitely a Soma cube. Oh, I need to unselect everything and select this cube. Now I can right click and rename that one to Soma, and I don't quite remember which one that is. I think it's the Soma. It's either Soma A or B, but you can double check the poster in class to see which one that is. Okay, so at least one of your shapes needs to be this multi-level Soma cube, and then the other 4 can be a flat cube. And to submit this, you just have to copy the URL like that, and then go back to the assignment, start assignment, and then paste that URL for me. Okay, you don't have to share the document with me because I already have admin access to all the documents.